In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we are looking into yet another claim about The Simpsons predicting a big news event. The story this time is that the iconic TV show eerily predicted the outbreak.
For over 3 decades, The Simpsons has been a cultural phenomenon, not only with its humor and satire, but also for eerily predicting future events. With each season, the show has ventured into the realm of prophecy, offering insights into political, technological, and social changes. As we move through 2025, many of these predictions are rapidly becoming reality. From major global conflicts to technological breakthroughs, it's clear that The Simpsons has a knack for foreseeing the future. Let's explore some of the most unsettling and eerily accurate predictions for 2025. California wildfires. As we step into 2025, the world is witnessing a catastrophic rise in wildfires, particularly in California, where flames have consumed vast swaths of land. The fire season is more intense than ever before, driven by a perfect storm of extreme temperatures, drought, and climate change. But for some, this disaster isn't just a result of environmental factors. It feels eerily familiar to an episode of The Simpsons that aired years ago, suggesting that the show might have once again predicted the future. The wildfires sweeping through California have sparked widespread discussions, including several conspiracy theories on social media about their origins. One particular TikTok video has gone viral, claiming that The Simpsons predicted the current wildfires in California. The video references The Simpsons Season 18, Episode 12, titled Little Big Girl, which aired in 2007. In this episode, Springfield faces a devastating forest fire that threatens the town and its residents, mirroring the wildfires that have recently ravaged Los Angeles and other parts of California. The TikTok narrator points out an uncanny detail. Bart Simpson, in typical mischievous fashion, starts a fire as part of one of his pranks. The fire quickly escalates out of control, threatening the entire town of Springfield. The chaotic scenes in this episode, from the rapid spread of the fire to the efforts of firefighters to contain the flames, bear striking resemblance to what is happening in California today. As the video suggests, the scenes in this episode are similar to recent events: wildfires spreading across various regions, destroying properties, and firefighters' tireless efforts to combat the flames. It's all happening now. This parallel between the fictional fire in The Simpsons and the real-life devastation occurring in California is too close for comfort. While the TikTok narrator admits that it may just be a coincidence, the eerie similarities have caused some to wonder if this is yet another instance of The Simpsons predicting the future. Given the series' history of foresight, this comparison raises an unsettling question. Is The Simpsons somehow tapped into the future of natural disasters, or is it simply the result of their writers commenting on the looming threats of climate change? Donald Trump's second term. As of January 2025, Donald Trump has officially begun his second term in office, a political outcome that once seemed outlandish when The Simpsons aired the Bart to the Future episode in 2000. In that iconic episode, Trump was depicted as a former president, and his disastrous first term left the country in economic ruin and turmoil. Fast forward to today, and Trump's victory in the 2024 election has made this prediction not only eerie, but remarkably accurate. In the Bart to the Future episode, Bart travels to a future where Lisa Simpson has become the president. Lisa mentions inheriting a budget crisis caused by her predecessor, none other than President Donald Trump. At the time, Trump was a wealthy businessman, and the idea of him ever becoming president was mostly regarded as a joke. Yet, less than 2 decades later, Trump not only ran for president, but successfully won in 2016. His first term was marked by controversial policies, sharp divides within the country, and an unprecedented political climate. Now Trump has completed his first term and is back for a second, despite the deep political divisions and the numerous challenges he faced during his first time in office. Whether one supports or opposes his leadership, there's no denying the remarkable foresight of The Simpsons in predicting Trump's rise and the specific trajectory of his political career. While Trump's second term is in its early stages, many of the concerns expressed in the Bart to the Future episode, from economic instability to polarized political divides, are very much alive today. But could a second term be just the tip of the iceberg? What if the future holds something even darker for humanity? Keep watching as we explore the chilling possibility of World War III next. World War III. As we enter 2025, the global political landscape remains fraught with tension, particularly between Russia and Western powers, leaving many on edge about the possibility of war. In many ways, this mirrors a chilling prediction from The Simpsons. In a 1987 short, Homer Simpson wakes his family in a panic, declaring that World War III has begun. What was initially a comedic skit now feels like a prescient warning, given the mounting global instability. In the episode, Homer's over-the-top reaction to his fears about World War III is played for laughs. He wakes up his entire family, insisting that the end of the world is imminent, prompting a series of absurdly frantic responses. However, looking at the current state of international relations, the joke doesn't seem so outlandish anymore. In fact, the escalating tensions between Russia and NATO, combined with military exercises on both sides and significant economic sanctions, have given rise to serious concerns about the risk of conflict. As we watch the world navigate through proxy wars, territorial disputes, and cyber warfare, the ominous specter of global conflict is becoming all too real. One of the most concerning aspects of the modern geopolitical situation is the ongoing military buildup in Eastern Europe, particularly near Ukraine, where Russia has repeatedly flexed its muscle. The involvement of NATO countries has escalated, making the possibility of direct confrontation more likely than it has been in decades. The rising threat of cyber attacks, which can cripple economies and destabilize governments, only adds to the growing sense of unease. In addition, the economic sanctions placed on Russia and its countermeasures have sparked fears of long-term global repercussions, further heightening tensions between superpowers. This escalation mirrors Homer's panicked predictions of a world at war. While the scene in The Simpsons was meant to be comedic, the reality of global instability feels less like a far-fetched scenario and more like a looming possibility. The show's history of predicting future events, from presidential elections to technological advances, makes it all the more intriguing that a simple joke about World War III now resonates with unsettling accuracy. As we worry about global conflicts, could we also be hurtling toward the end of the world? Let's see what The Simpsons had to say about that. Simpsons' doomsday prediction. In a classic episode of The Simpsons, Marge ambitiously decides to give the kids haircuts at home, only for the experiment to go horribly wrong. To remedy the disaster, Homer takes the kids to a new barbershop at the mall, but in typical Springfield fashion, chaos ensues. The haircuts are so cringeworthy that the kids hide out in a movie theater, parodying the film Left Behind, a chilling depiction of the rapture. This is where the episode takes a wild turn. Homer, convinced that the end of the world is near, begins predicting the rapture, spouting ominous phrases like "stars falling from the sky" and "the end is near." Initially, his predictions seem absurd, but when a blimp accident at the Krusty Celebrity Salute causes actual stars to fall, panic erupts in Springfield. The town gathers at Springfield Mesa, bracing for the apocalypse. Spoiler alert, nothing happens. Feeling humiliated, Homer returns to the Mesa alone, only to find himself ascending into heaven, naked. There, he pleads with God,
"Lord, you got a first-class destination resort here, really top-notch,"
to save his family. After some divine negotiation and a tantrum, God agrees to reverse the rapture. Homer wakes up on the Mesa, reunited with his family, and Moe's Tavern magically reverts to its original form.
Deus ex machina!
It's The Simpsons version of a cosmic reset, apocalypse averted. This episode is a complete mockery of the biblical prophecy of the end times, blending humor with absurdity. But could there be more to this prediction than just a punchline? In The Simpsons season 16, in the episode "Thank God It's Doomsday," Homer becomes obsessed with predicting the end of the world after watching a movie about the rapture. While apocalyptic fears have been present throughout history, recent global challenges, such as pandemics, climate change, and political instability, have reignited existential anxieties. The concept of doomsday feels increasingly tangible, especially with 2025 on the horizon. Though The Simpsons often exaggerates for comedic effect, the theme of impending doom resonates with those who see 2025 as a tipping point for humanity's survival. Whether it's through climate inaction, technological overreach, or geopolitical strife, the possibility of a catastrophic event looms large in public consciousness. The Simpsons might just be reminding us that while we laugh at the absurdity, we should also pay attention to the existential threats facing our world. But what if the world didn't end in flames, but in a zombie apocalypse? That's coming up next. The Simpsons zombie apocalypse. In what may be one of the most outlandish predictions yet, The Simpsons may have foreseen a zombie apocalypse in our future. In a Halloween-themed episode from 2009 titled Treehouse of Horror 20, Springfield is hit by a devastating zombie outbreak, and it all begins with a contaminated hamburger. Krusty the Clown introduces a new burger, dubbed the Burger 2, made from cattle that have eaten other cattle. Classic cannibalism. The result? A viral outbreak that turns anyone who eats these tainted burgers into zombies. Kent Brockman, eating the burger on live TV, turns into a crazed, red-eyed zombie, triggering a full-blown zombification of Springfield. Within 28 days, the entire town has become a zombie wasteland. But in typical Simpsons fashion, there's a twist. Bart, our mischievous hero, turns out to be immune to the virus after consuming one of the contaminated burgers. This bizarre premise sets off a wild chain of events. Dr. Hibbert, now caught in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, advises the family to get Bart to a supposed safe zone in Shelbyville. Along the way, they encounter a surprising hero, Apu, the Quick E-Mart owner, who, being a vegetarian, never ate the tainted burgers. He becomes the ultimate zombie slayer, armed with everything from snacks to firepower. His bravery and quirky heroism add a unique charm to the apocalyptic scenario. As the family makes their way through the chaos, they eventually reach the safe zone, only to discover that the people there believe Bart's immunity makes him the chosen one. Their solution? To eat Bart in order to cure the virus. Naturally, The Simpsons turns this into a hilarious and absurd plot, with Bart ultimately vaccinating the population by contaminating their food before they eat. While this entire zombie apocalypse scenario is absurd and exaggerated, it raises an interesting question. Could a zombie-like outbreak ever really happen? With growing concerns over pandemics, viral mutations, and biotechnological risks, the prediction feels more like a dark comedy with a bizarre twist on the fears that actually plague our modern world. Could 2025 bring about a zombified future? Or is The Simpsons just poking fun at our deepest anxieties, as it always does? AI robots. In 2025, artificial intelligence is no longer a distant futuristic concept. It's rapidly becoming integrated into our daily lives. From self-driving cars to AI-powered customer service agents and even robotic assistants, technology is steadily taking over tasks that were once performed by humans. This growing reliance on AI echoes several episodes of The Simpsons, particularly in the Treehouse of Horror series, where the family is replaced by robots or technology-driven characters. The idea of AI taking over human roles, not just in labor, but in relationships as well, seems increasingly plausible. Could The Simpsons have predicted a future where machines replace human roles, both professionally and personally? One of the show's most notable predictions came in 2012, when The Simpsons foreshadowed mass automation. In the episode, the world witnessed robots taking over many jobs once done by humans, from factory work to customer service. While this idea was once dismissed as science fiction, it's quickly becoming a reality in 2025. In fact, automation is already displacing millions of workers across various industries, particularly those in manual labor and customer-facing roles. This shift raises questions about the future of work and the long-term impact on society. Even more chilling, The Simpsons predicted the potential for a robot rebellion years before it became a widely discussed concept. In a 1994 episode of Itchy and Scratchy Land, the Simpson family visits a theme park staffed entirely by robots.
Now remember, we're in the itchy line.
However, things go terribly wrong as the robots malfunction and end up killing the guests.
All robots will eventually turn against their masters and run them up.
This storyline didn't just anticipate the rise of AI, but also foreshadowed the concept behind Westworld, a show centered on a theme park full of robots that eventually rebel against their human creators. The Simpsons had managed to predict both the existence of Westworld and the risk of a robot uprising simultaneously. Furthermore, The Simpsons explored the ethical dilemmas surrounding AI.
I look at their hands, which have turned into buzzsaws.
With the story of Bart being replaced by a robot son after a tragic accident. This episode, though darkly comedic, taps into a real-world concern. As AI technology advances, could machines begin to replace not just human labor, but human connections and family relationships? Jürgen Schmidhuber, the father of artificial intelligence, has predicted that AI superintelligence could trigger runaway technological growth, drastically altering civilization within just 30 years. As AI continues to evolve at a breakneck pace, we find ourselves facing tough questions. Can machines truly replace human roles? Or will the advent of robotics simply augment human capabilities? The Simpsons may have been ahead of its time in suggesting that AI could disrupt not just the workforce, but the very fabric of human relationships. As we move closer to this future, the ethical implications of AI's role in our lives will undoubtedly become one of the most pressing debates of our time. Could the machines really replace us in ways that go beyond what we ever imagined? And speaking of things evolving, virtual reality is on the rise, and it's about to get even more surreal. Let's dive into that next. Virtual reality becomes surreal reality. In the rapidly advancing world of technology, virtual reality has already begun to reshape how we experience entertainment, work, and social interactions. But The Simpsons may have seen this future coming years ago. A 2016 episode, titled Friends and Family, depicts Mr. Burns creating virtual avatars of the Simpson family to keep him company. While this premise was initially played for laughs, the concept of virtual lives closely mirrors today's reality, where VR and digital avatars are becoming increasingly commonplace. In the episode, Mr. Burns, ever the eccentric billionaire, creates avatars of the Simpson family, Bart, Lisa, Marge, and Homer, to act as his personal companions in the digital world. He uses these avatars as replacements for real human interaction, a concept that seems eerily similar to the growing trend of digital companionship and even AI-driven virtual lives today. The idea of virtual avatars or digital twins, personalized versions of ourselves that exist online, is no longer far-fetched. With advancements in VR technology, tools like the metaverse, and even virtual reality-based therapy, we're inching closer to the possibility of fully immersive digital worlds where people may live out entire lives within them. The rise of VR gaming platforms, remote working technologies, and social VR spaces indicates that this concept is no longer science fiction. Virtual spaces allow people to meet, collaborate, and socialize in environments that feel almost real. Already, tech giants are experimenting with augmented and virtual reality. And while we're not quite at the point of virtual families, as seen in The Simpsons, the foundations are in place. Experts predict that by 2030, VR will play a huge role in everything from education to social relationships. This could mean that in 2025, we might start seeing entire virtual worlds that mimic our own, where people could live, work, and even form relationships entirely online. What The Simpsons predicted as a quirky gimmick in 2016 might soon become a cultural norm, blurring the lines between the physical and digital realms. Could this technology redefine what it means to live in the future? If The Simpsons had a hand in predicting this technological evolution, they've certainly managed to capture the imagination, giving us a glimpse of a very surreal reality on the horizon. Whether it's a utopia or a dystopia, one thing is clear: virtual reality is on its way to changing our world, and The Simpsons may have been spot on all along. Flying cars. The idea of flying cars has long been a symbol of the futuristic world we've all dreamed of, and The Simpsons may have been one of the first to bring this vision to life in a way that felt both hilarious and prophetic. In a flash-forward episode from season 16, the show presented a futuristic version of Springfield, where flying cars were part of everyday life. At the time, it seemed like an outlandish concept, but now, with the rapid advancements in technology, the reality of flying cars seems closer than ever. In the Simpsons episode, we see a world where vehicles zip through the skies, dodging obstacles and creating a chaotic but undeniably exciting new way of commuting. The episode's depiction of flying cars wasn't just a quirky joke. It was a glimpse into a potential future where traffic jams are a thing of the past and the sky is the limit, literally. At the time, the idea felt like pure science fiction, but fast forward to 2025, and the prospect of flying cars is no longer so far-fetched. Today, companies like Aircar, Aeromobile, and Terrafugia are working on prototypes that could make flying cars a reality. These vehicles are being designed with both vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, making them suitable for urban environments. While the technology isn't fully mainstream just yet, it's clear that significant strides are being made in the direction of air mobility. Experts predict that by the 2030s, flying cars could be as common as electric cars on the roads. With advancements in drone technology, electric propulsion systems, and autonomous flight software, we are likely on the cusp of a new transportation revolution. The challenges are still significant. Regulatory frameworks, air traffic control, and infrastructure will all need to evolve, but the dream is becoming tangible. The Simpsons, with its blend of humor and satire, captured the imagination of millions by presenting a vision of the future where flying cars weren't just a fantasy. And in 2025, as we see real-world progress on flying cars, it seems The Simpsons might have been more prescient than we ever realized. Could we soon find ourselves stuck in traffic, not on the ground, but up in the air? The sky might be the new limit. Solar cars. In the Simpsons episode Path to Glory, the show takes a satirical yet insightful look at the potential of renewable energy, particularly solar power, in the automotive industry. In this 2001 episode, Lisa Simpson invents a solar-powered car to compete in the Alternative Energy Derby, a race that promotes green energy innovation. However, things quickly take a humorous turn when a massive Duff Beer banner plane flies overhead, blocking the sun and causing Lisa's car to stall. While this leads to frustration for Lisa, the underlying concept of solar-powered cars has never been more relevant than in 2025. The idea of solar cars has been around for decades, but it's only in recent years that we've seen actual models hitting the market. The notion that vehicles could run solely on renewable energy like sunlight rather than fossil fuels is one that has sparked both excitement and skepticism. However, the increasing environmental concerns, coupled with advancements in solar technology, have paved the way for more practical, real-world applications of solar energy in transportation. As of 2025, several car manufacturers are actively pursuing solar-powered vehicle technology, and the market for solar vehicles has started to grow. Companies like Sono Motors and Lightyear are leading the charge, unveiling electric vehicles that use solar panels to help charge their batteries, extending their range and reducing reliance on traditional charging infrastructure. While we're not yet seeing solar cars dominating the streets, these developments indicate that the solar car revolution is on the horizon. In The Simpsons, the gag of Lisa's car stalling due to a lack of sunlight may have been a humorous moment, but it's also a reflection of a very real concern for solar-powered vehicles, their dependency on consistent sunlight. While solar-powered cars are no longer just an invention of the future, the reality of their widespread adoption in 2025 still hinges on solving issues like battery efficiency and sunlight dependence. If The Simpsons predicted the rise of solar cars, they also humorously acknowledged the challenges that come with it. Despite these challenges, the future of solar-powered transportation looks promising. As technology continues to advance, the possibility of a world where solar cars are a common sight on the roads is becoming increasingly likely, perhaps sooner than we think. The show's prediction may not be so far-fetched after all, as it seems that Lisa's solar car could soon be joined by a fleet of eco-friendly vehicles on the streets of 2025. Moving to Mars. For decades, the concept of colonizing Mars has been the stuff of science fiction, with its red, dusty surface and potential to harbor life in ancient times. But as the world's attention turns to space exploration and technological innovation, The Simpsons seem to have predicted the race to Mars with their own satirical twist. In the 2005 episode The Marge Ian Chronicles, Lisa and her family sign up for trials to become the first colonists on Mars. In a comedic take on the mission, only Marge and Lisa are selected, with the ultimate goal of establishing the first human colony by 2026, though the plan is delayed to 2051. Fast forward to the real world in 2025, and Mars colonization is no longer just a fictional notion. Visionary entrepreneur Elon Musk, through his SpaceX program, has boldly proclaimed that humanity could make it to Mars within the next few years. Musk's plan is ambitious. He envisions the first humans landing on Mars as early as 2028, with the goal of creating a self-sustained city by 2044. Musk hopes to have up to 1 million people living on Mars by 2050, just 1 year after The Simpsons' projected arrival. While these goals are undeniably exciting, experts raise concerns about the challenges of sustaining human life on Mars. Biologist Kelly Weinersmith, in an interview with CNN, warned that creating a livable colony may not be feasible without severe consequences. She emphasized that Mars's conditions, extreme temperatures, low gravity, and a thin atmosphere, may pose catastrophic risks, such as an inability to have babies or an increased risk of cancer from radiation exposure. With technology still advancing, the idea of 1 million people living on Mars in the next few decades might be overly optimistic. Despite the challenges, the race to colonize Mars continues, and the stakes are high. The fact that The Simpsons predicted a Mars mission so accurately speaks to the show's uncanny ability to predict the future, even if its portrayal was more comedic than realistic. Will Musk's Mars dreams become a reality, or will they meet the same fate as The Simpsons' delay? Time will tell, but the prospect of Mars colonization is no longer a far-off fantasy. It could be closer than we think. The rise of holograms. As technology continues to shape the future, one of the most fascinating developments is the rise of holograms, a concept that The Simpsons predicted years ago with surprising accuracy. Holograms are no longer just a staple of science fiction, but a growing part of our digital reality. The show, known for its sharp cultural satire, featured holographic technology long before it became a part of mainstream conversations, showcasing how holograms could revolutionize the way we communicate and interact with the world. In the 2000 episode Bart to the Future, we see an adult Bart receiving a holographic message hiring his band for a gig, an amusing but prescient look at the role of holograms in future communication. This episode also offers a glimpse into Bart's life down the line, where a mailman delivers a virtual letter to the Simpson household in the form of a hologram. The letter ends with the now famous phrase, "Smell you later," replacing the standard "goodbye." Bart's reaction is one of surprise. "I can't believe smell you later replaced goodbye."
I can't believe smell you later replaced goodbye.
While this was meant as a humorous moment, it effectively predicted the evolving landscape of digital communication, where even everyday interactions could be transformed by holograms. Fast forward to 2025, and the technology behind holograms is already making strides. In fact, HD3 holograms are now available for use in select stores, with over 500 Best Buy locations already implementing these advanced visual displays. Though still in the early stages, these holograms could soon become a regular feature in our daily lives. Imagine receiving virtual letters, interacting with 3D representations of people in meetings, or attending holographic concerts from the comfort of your living room. It's no longer science fiction, it's an imminent reality. The future of holograms promises to bring us closer to a more immersive and interactive digital world, where the boundaries between the physical and virtual blur. In The Simpsons, the family's interactions with holograms weren't just for laughs. They were an early prediction of how communication and technology would evolve. With holograms now making their way into stores and potentially into homes, the show's predictions are becoming ever more relevant. While the technology is still in its infancy, the potential for holograms to change how we communicate is undeniable. From personalized holographic messages to fully immersive virtual environments, the rise of holograms is an exciting glimpse into the future, one that The Simpsons predicted and which is now steadily becoming a reality. As we look to the next few years, it's clear that holograms may be an essential part of our everyday interactions, just as the show's creators envisioned. Music-induced mind control. In the 2001 The Simpsons episode New Kids on the Block, the show presents a chilling satirical take on mind control through music. The episode follows Bart and his friends as they join a boy band, Party Posse, only to uncover a sinister plot orchestrated by the US Navy. The band's hit song, Drop the Bomb,
That's why I gotta drop the bomb,
contains a hidden subliminal message, Ivan et Nioj, which, when reversed, reads, Join the Navy. This subtle manipulation of the youth through music is one of the creepiest storylines ever featured on the show, and it continues to resonate today as concerns about media influence and subliminal messaging in popular culture grow. Some viewers have argued that this episode eerily foreshadows the real-world use of music to influence the masses. Over the years, there has been a growing belief that certain types of music, particularly in hip-hop and pop genres, can have a hypnotic effect on listeners. encouraging specific behaviors or attitudes. Critics claim that the elites may exploit music as a tool to control public opinion, subtly guiding the masses to accept certain ideologies or actions. The idea of subliminal messaging in music isn't new. It has been the subject of conspiracy theories for decades. While The Simpsons exaggerated this theme for comedic effect, the episode serves as a reminder that music has long been used as a powerful tool for influence. Whether or not this is a true method of mind control, the connection between entertainment and manipulation is undeniable, making this prediction more relevant than ever. So, what do you think? Are these predictions too accurate to be just coincidence? Or are we really headed down the path The Simpsons saw coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing predictions.